I'm Denise.
And welcome to another edition of Urban Lifestyles, and happy Black History Month.
Yes, and I'm still reining in a Happy New Year.
Yeah.
With possibilities.
And
Positive possibilities.
And you're right, the possibilities are endless. One thing that is still in the news is COVID-19 and making sure that if you're in that age group that you're getting your shot. And when it comes your way, make sure that you take it.
Yes.
And some things that you can do to stay safe is make sure that you're wearing your mask and utilizing all the safety precautions that are out there.
And you know my big one, I get on his nerves with.
Yes.
Every time I come in contact with a surface, I'm sanitizing and washing.
Right.
All it takes is that touched and boom.
And then you have trouble. So sanitizing is extremely important. Our first segment we're going to be talking about today is a segment we did with MSD. We also visited Roots 101, the Black History Museum, and we've got an update with Middletown Cycling. So we'll take a quick break and back with more right after this.
When it comes to COVID-19, this sister is putting our community to the test by sharing the pride, working for peace, acting for prevention. Thank you, Sadiqa Reynolds. That's love for our people. Hashtag YBPRC.
So, Denise, you've got the first segment. I know you went out and you talked to the people at MSD. So tell us about what's going on with our partners.
This was one of the most interesting interviews and segments to cover in regards to MSD, how they're making our lives green, safe. But it's a collaboration that's going on and in conjunction with COVID-19. So let's take a look. Hi, I'm here to do another MSD segment, but today is quite fascinating because, of course, MSD stands for providing us with safe and clean waterways. But we're in the midst of COVID-19, and there are a lot of behind-the-scenes, I would say, works that's going on that we don't know about, but today we're going to find out about them to help provide more safety and knowledge in the midst of everybody being in COVID-19. We're here in the lab at MSD, and I want to introduce you to Mr. Damon Talley, who is the director of the treatment facilities. And Damon, welcome to Urban Lifestyles.
Thank you.
I was reading that there's a collaboration and a process that you all are helping to provide with U of L, doing a sort of a joint study, if you will. Share some light on how that came about and what it is about the collaboration.
So MSD is involved with U of L in their community project, which is using wastewater-based epidemiology to look for the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So an individual can shed the SARS-CoV-2 virus, even if they're asymptomatic, through their stool. So this is how it results in getting into the wastewater. So samples are collected by MSD and analyzed at U of L. Now, this collection of samples is not to replace what you would consider your standard COVID-19 testing that is done, but this is another method that allows for you to kind of monitor COVID within your community.
Okay. Now, you had mentioned something off camera, and it was interesting to me. For instance, I know that some of the testing, I think, also goes in with Arizona State University. Share about what happened there.
Yeah, so when this project originally started, U of L was working with Arizona State University, and so we go back with U of L with the Green Heart Initiative, which we were doing testing, looking at the south end of Louisville. And so samples were sent to Arizona State to do analysis, and now U of L does analysis here in-house. But also kind of a sidetrack is we've just got involved with Arizona State University and another company called Aqua Vista, and they're looking at COVID on a national level. So we're in phase 1 with Morris Foreman with the Health and Human Services Department to collect samples. They wanted to look at 10% of the population in the United States.
Wow.
So we were selected to be part of that project, and we send samples twice a week from our Morris Foreman Water Quality Treatment Center.
You know, one of the things that, speaking of, I guess, regions and segments of the United States, was the population. And even when I'm thinking of the population within, let's say, a college environment, share about what you all discovered within the population of those students when it came down to what was found and then how many.
So one example was with Arizona. This was Arizona University, and also here locally, University of Kentucky is doing it. You have universities across the country that are collecting wastewater samples at the dormitories. And an example of one was Arizona University where they were able to, by monitoring the wastewater of a dorm, they were able to catch that 2 students had COVID and test all 300 students in that dorm before it spread.
And you had spoken of markers. Markers would be, I guess, an important indicator. But what was the number? Because when you mentioned about the number of the markers and it only had come down to 2 students, I mean.
Well, so what's being shed from the human body is not the virus.
Okay.
It is markers. So when they do the analysis at U of L and other labs, they're looking at your RNA for the SARS-CoV-2, the RNA that is shed. So a marker just indicates that there's presence or that the virus has been present. So an individual can shed a few markers to a few thousand. So a result, you may look at a result and it may say, you've got 250,000 markers. That doesn't mean it's 250,000 people are infected. It could be a small portion of that community where the sample was collected.
My goodness. I know there was I would say a nice sizable amount of a donation from the Owsley Brown II Family Foundation. Share a little bit about that, because there are some people that didn't know what's working behind the scenes to make the project possible.
Yes, so when the project started off, so there is CARES money that has been used, but I believe Owsley Brown donated over $1 million to the University of Louisville to help with this project.
Right.
So that money has been used, it's gone in to help purchase equipment.
Oh.
It's also helped to reimburse for the materials that are used, the samplers, personnel that are used to collect the samples.
I know if there has been concern with, let's say, MSD employees or anybody for that matter, is it more tension, I'm going to say, you all's involvement with the COVID versus how you said the exposure to maybe other things like SARS and hepatitis? Is it because there would be more damaging effects from exposure versus the other viruses?
Well, no, it's to go back to what I said. So it has nationally, not just here nationally, but globally, it has been shown no one has contracted COVID-19 from wastewater. So, that's one thing when employees brought up those issues, we were quick to address them because safety is first here at MSD. We addressed those that, it hasn't been detected that anyone's ever caught COVID-19 from wastewater exposure.
Okay.
And again, as I mentioned earlier, is if you're wearing your proper PPE and following the safety protocols with regards to the work environment in the sewer system and at the wastewater collection and treatment centers, then you shouldn't have any issue.
Denise had some great information, and the partnership with U of L, it's just really eye-opening.
Yeah, it is. And just to know about the capturing the segment, even on the university, as he said, Arizona State University, and the population of those students, and being able to collect those markers, as he calls them. I just feel good that we're here in Louisville, Kentucky, and we're on the cutting edge.
Right. It's nice to be on the forefront of something positive.
Absolutely.
We'll take another break and back with more.
We are mothers,
fathers,
neighbors, and friends.
Working hard when the weather is good,
and even harder when it's not.
With online updates to keep you safe and informed during the storm.
Programs to save you energy and money.
And new projects to help us provide cleaner, more reliable energy.
We're more than an energy company.
We are LG&E.
We're LG&E.
We are LG&E.
Our energies go to serve.
February is Black History Month, and we would be remiss if we didn't recognize some of our pioneers across the state of Kentucky. So we're calling this segment Kentucky Black History Pioneers.
Dr. Philip C. Brooks Sr. was a graduate of Attucks High School and earned his medical degree at Howard University. He built the hospital in his hometown during World War II. Dr. Philip C. Brooks Sr. built Hopkinsville's only hospital for African Americans in 1944 during segregation and treated black and white patients for more than 30 years at the facility on South Virginia Street. Jenny Stewart Hospital was segregated, and the closest other hospital for blacks was more than an hour's drive from Hopkinsville, according to the Kentucky African American Encyclopedia. The hospital drew patients from throughout Kentucky and surrounding states, and even from as far away as Chicago. Many people living in Hopkinsville today were born at Brooks Hospital. In 1958, Brooks gained national attention for treating a white patient who had been denied care at Jenny Stewart Hospital. And in 1975, the National Medical Association named Brooks the General Practitioner of the Year.
I know Brooks Hospital is a key part of our family's history, and I remember going there as a kid for every ailment possible, and he also did home visits, which I thought was, I didn't think anything about it at the time. We just thought that was the norm.
Yeah, when you have a staple in the community like that, primarily for African Americans, it tends to have something of really close ties for me, and especially when the physicians made the house calls.
Right.
But the culture has changed so much. But then Dr. Brooks, how vital it was, because other than that, how were the African Americans going to get quality health care if it had not been for him?
You are correct. So salutes to Dr. P.C. Brooks. And I think another unique factor is that the hospital is still owned by the family.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break and back with more right after this.
What's good? B96.5. Your man Nick Cannon is in the building and we taking over. We gonna be wilding every morning. About to have some fun, y'all. Let's go up. Press another move.
Lock it in to the Nick Cannon Morning Show, 6 to 10 on B96.5.
Hey, it's Amir Holland Robinson with Magic 101.3 in the afternoon. How are you? And happy, Tuesday to you. I know I'm looking a little crazy. It's a little cold outside, but listen, we got some hot things happening on the station. Ladies, trying to hook you up for Valentine's Day. It's the Magic 101.3 Bachelor. Guess who the Bachelor is? I'm looking a little rough, but I clean up good. It's going to be me. I'm taking 3 ladies to dinner on Valentine's, and all you got to do is listen. Go to 1013online.com, upload a headshot of yourself, and then we're going to pick 3 lovely ladies to hang out with me, because I'm on the Bachelor block, baby, and I'm taking some folks to dinner. You know what I mean? Gonna have a good time. We're gonna eat good. This is the last week you can walk away with $10,000, so don't sleep on it. Don't snooze on it. It is the 10K Magic Moolah. One person gonna walk away with $10,000. Racks on racks on racks on racks on racks on racks. And then we're doing this big thing with the Palm. Case is coming to the Palm on February the 6th. Now, this is what we got. We got free tickets for you. And on top of that, one lucky winner is going to walk away with 10 tickets for 10 of their friends. They're going to have their own section and limo service to and from the concert. Oh, man, that's a good look. Go to 1013 online for that. And we got to be healthy in 2021. Get healthy, 502. That's where we pass on to you information on how you can stay healthy. Always listen for your favorites, your R&B, your throwback, your new joints. Man, we keep it hot. Yes, we do. We keep it very hot on Magic 101.3.
Well, it was about 2 years ago, and we met with Lamont Collins when he was doing this fundraiser to raise money for Roots 101, the African American History Museum. And at the time, people didn't think it was going to be possible. So it was neat catching up with him now and just seeing how far he's gotten with Roots 101. So take a look. If you haven't been, you definitely have to take a trip to the African American Museum, which is called Roots 101, and it's on West Main Street here in Louisville. It is a phenomenal display that really tracks the history of African Americans. And I'm here with the owner, the proprietor, Mr. Lamont Collins. Welcome back to Urban Lifestyles. And the reason I say welcome back, we came to you when you were doing a fundraiser for it. You were on Bardstown Road, and you were talking about your vision. Now here we are. So tell us, how did we get here?
Well, 2 years later, we're here. We were persistent. We did faith over finances, which so many black businesses have to do. Historically, that's what we have done as black people. And we got the museum at 819 West Main, right beside Fraser Museum on Museum Row. And that's the game changer, that we're telling our story 365 days a year on Museum Row.
All right. So when you had the inspiration for this, how did it all come about? How did we get here? I mean, just how did it come together?
Well, I've always been a history buff. History's always been a way that I could identify who I was and what I was. I always had a museum or collection in my home, whatever home I lived in. And when I got old enough, I guess 2 years ago, old enough, right? I said, I'm gonna do it. And we did it. And the grace of God, we're here now.
And when we're at this museum, we're talking about, you're on Museum Row, and you have 3 levels here. So tell us what each level depicts.
Okay, great. We call it Roots 101 because in higher education, the first class you take is a 101. So each level is an educational level. I mean, if I was being like a kid and been a Drake concert, we started from the bottom and we're here, right? So it shows the progress of African Americans through our journey. I always say that we were descendants of kings and queens that were enslaved in America. And that's what you get at Roots 101. You understand that we descended from kings and queens, and we did things before the Europeans ever thought of it. So it's a way just to tell our story.
Okay, so on the first floor, we'll see.
Okay, on first floor, this is the first floor. This is the Benin Century. This is artwork and history of West Africans. This is the tradition of sculptures and things made out of bronze. And why I like this floor so much is that we can tell that a lot of influences in art, European art, was done by watching Africans when they went to West Africa. They already know that a lot of things that were made were copied by Picasso by looking at the abstract artwork that were done by Africans long before the Europeans ever came to Africa.
So Lamont, we're on the second floor now, and I just light up because it seems to be all about the music, and it looks like you've got a very rich history of Louisville displayed here. So tell us about it.
Yeah, we have everything that dealt with the city and the state of Kentucky. It's the roots of African American music of Kentucky. We have everything from jug band series when it was going on in the 1700s. We have the history of gospel music throughout Kentucky. We have the Scene magazine. When we had the Scene magazine was in the late 70s where they told that story. And then we have Sarah Martin over here. The story of Sarah Martin was a great entertainer at the time. We even have the Kentucky Hall of Fame trophy from the Moonglows when they were inducted in the Kentucky Hall of Fame. We have things like the Pearls, which was a local group. We have Jerry Green, which is a local entertainer. We have the actual drum set to New Birth. New Birth was a great group here in Kentucky. We have their things there. Marianne Fisher in the corner, who was part of the Ray Charles. I think I mentioned that downstairs. If you saw the Ray Charles movie, that was the first one that he put his arms around to see her size, you know? So this is the history of African American music, the roots of it, and we're proud of this. I mean, we're proud of everything in the museum, but we know that we're telling the story of the African American journey, and that's what I'm so proud about.
You know, but when I'm looking at all of these, you have some great finds. I mean, some terrific finds. How did you amass such a collection?
Just always collected. And then once I decided to do the museum, so many people have called. You know, this collection, and this particular collection was really 2 people helped put this together. Mr. Wonderful, his name is Mr. Anderson, and then you see back on the wall, Butch Williams. So a lot of this is Butch Williams and Mr. Wonderful's collection, and they're local musicians and producers, and they wanted to see this happen. And I said, I'll give you a floor to make it happen.
So Lamont, we're about to finish our history lesson, and we're up on the 3rd floor, and I'm sure this has to be your favorite floor. So tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here.
Well, you're seeing the history of African American jockeys called Behind the Roses. You see the roses on the ground, but it's a mixed art graphic by an artist by the name of Godfrey out of Lexington, Kentucky. And it's just telling the story of the African American jockey, but it's telling his life behind the scene. So as you look at each portrait, you'll see a different, fence behind, you'll see so much of what the work he's done. And on this floor, we also incorporated with historical portraits of real jockeys in the back. We have the past series, which one is the biggest jockey series in the world. We have as part of our museum toward the back of the museum in the back. So we're proud of this. We have an actual saddle right there that belonged to a jockey by the name of Mr. Anderson. He's still living today. And if you pick up that saddle, I think he said is more than 70 years old. His own dad had that saddle. When his dad died, he gave it to him when he was 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
And when he gave it to us, he cried, just giving it away, but he knew it belonged home.
And when we're looking at these pieces, I noticed that this artwork is also for sale.
Yes, everything's for sale. We've sold 3 pieces at $5,000 a piece. 1 piece is at the Churchill Downs Museum, and it will stay there to a new exhibit they're having. And the other piece will stay here at the museum, and the other piece was sold to a gentleman out of Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay. So again, when we're looking at this and we see everything that you've done, it's just really phenomenal. And when we're looking at it, we think about Louisville only, but you've received a lot of national recognition for this museum. So tell us about that.
Yeah, we were ranked top 20 museums in the world opening up in 2020 by Architectural Digest. We were given a major award by Forbes magazine, Wealth magazine. So yeah, we've had so much national attention. If we got dollars with attention, we wouldn't still be fundraising, right? But I mean, we know we're doing the right thing. We're just gonna keep telling the story. But yeah, we got great national attention to what we do. And we even got the Breonna Taylor Memorial coming. And with the Breonna Taylor Memorial, I had people call all the way from China and Japan, want to know when that's gonna be set up. And we're working on that now. So it'll be in the back of the museum, beside the river, because symbolically I told you that we laid our ancestors by the water so their spirit would always flow. So Breonna Taylor's image and Breonna Taylor's soul will always move across the Ohio River.
If you haven't been to the museum, I'm telling you, you need to go and visit because it is a phenomenal place.
All the artifacts, and when you were sharing about being able
Sure.
to touch the
Those
chains that had been on slaves up close and personal like that. From right here in Kentucky, you know, life and revisiting that part of history. Oof, it's
And I know the pandemic has got everybody on lockdown, but soon as you have an opportunity and you know the restrictions are somewhat lessened, it is definitely worth a visit. We actually have a treasure in our community, and we need to support it. And if you haven't been down to see it, make sure that you do.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll take a quick break and back with more right after this.
We are mothers,
Fathers,
neighbors, and friends.
Working hard when the weather is good.
and even harder when it's not.
With online updates to keep you safe and informed during the storm.
Programs to save you energy and money.
And new projects to help us provide cleaner, more reliable energy.
We're more than an energy company.
We are LG&E.
We're LG&E.
We are LG&E.
Our energies go to...
We're back at Middletown Cycling, and we'll actually be here every month because they're one of our partners, and they bring us great information to keep you, let's say, physically fit by getting out on your bike. And of course, if you're going to be on your bike, you want to have the latest in accoutrements, from clothes to wear to shoes. And we're over here today, and we're with Nira, who is one of the owners of Middletown Cycling. So, Nira, welcome back to Urban Lifestyles, and tell us some things that's been going on.
We're staying busy, which is a good thing. It's also very cold outside, so we have a lot of customers who come in here who can't really ride their bikes outside. So we have this contraption here. This is what they call a smart trainer, you see behind me.
Okay.
My rear wheel is no longer there. We have now fully put the bike on this smart trainer, which the meaning of smart is that it works with different applications, different bike applications, where you can like there's a simulation of different routes that you can pick and choose, but it also, based on the simulation with the app, changes the resistance in the back, which helps you make fit. If you notice, my heart rate is going up.
Right, so it's kind of like having like a Peloton or something like that, but
Very
you're basically
similar.
creating your own.
Correct, very similar, but you're riding on your bike that is fitted for you, and then you can take this bike and ride back on the road when the weather gets better.
Okay, so when I'm looking at this that it's mounted on, that looks very, 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 very technical for someone like me who is non-technical. Is that easy for you to assemble and put on your bike at home?
Absolutely, extremely easy, and even if it were a little bit of an issue, we're here to help you. We would go over everything. It comes with all the adapters necessary, no matter what kind of bike you have, and we'll help you out with it. Very easy.
Okay, so in terms of bike frames and styles, is it a certain frame that is designed for, or can basically any bike frame fit that?
Any bike frame. It could be a hybrid bike, it could be a road bike, a mountain bike, any bike that'll work on it. Yep.
And just seeing that you are a little winded now, so it is a great workout, right?
Yeah, it definitely is, and keeps you in shape throughout the winter, and then you're right back on the road when it's summertime.
Okay, so you really don't miss a beat in terms of transition.
Not at all.
All right, and something else that we were talking about today is I'm seeing here boxes and boxes of shoes, and I see some great bike shoes. So tell us about some of the great deals that you've got on some of these shoes today.
We were lucky enough to get this big selection of road bikes, mountain bikes that if you look at the bottom here, based on the riding that you do, it either comes in a 3-bolt or the 2-bolt. And they're all on sale for $50.
Oh, wow. That is a great deal. And when someone is looking for a shoe for riding, what are some things that you should be looking for? What makes the perfect shoe?
So a lot of things depends on how much you're riding, how far you're riding, the kind of riding style that you have. These are typically shoes that most people ride when they're riding a road bike.
Okay.
Like this one, the 2-bolt attachment is mostly for people who ride mountain bikes prefer that.
Okay.
Some people, they ride mountain bikes, they just ride flats. They don't even wear clips. But this is just a style.
Okay, all right. And is it very much difference in the style when you're looking at it from a men's shoe to a woman's shoe?
Absolutely.
Okay, and what are those differences?
Basically, it's just the narrowness.
Okay,
the
so
sizing.
is this a woman's?
This is a women's style right here, and something like those lace-ups over there are more men's style. But anybody, some of them are unisex, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, so we know we're still early. We're in February.
Yep.
And people are starting to look and think about, I'm going to be getting out riding. And something that I think is very important is finding the right kind of gloves or something. So can you help us with that?
Basically, there are summer gloves, there are winter gloves. Even within winter gloves, there are certain temperatures that they recommend them for. So if you're riding below 32 degrees or if you're riding, between 60 and 32 degrees. So they all have their benefit of depending on what kind of weather you're riding in. It also depends on whether you want to cover your entire hand when you're going mountain biking. So there's a lot of options, and we can help you through with that.
Well, they've got some great sales going on, as she was talking about. And having that stationary bike in your home, I think that's really cool and unique. That way you can stay active all year long. So are you ready to get back out on your bike?
Yeah, my concern was staying warm. But, after talking to our friend Kathy, just putting on the adequate clothing, and you can still enjoy and have awesome fun. Just like not real frigid cold.
Right.
But, you can still enjoy it and just, dress accordingly.
Yeah, and that's some of the things that they're going to be talking to us about as well, the proper gear that you should be wearing during the different times of the year, and especially weather and it's cold.
Yes.
You know what? I think that's our show.
Oh, that's our time.
And we'll see you back here next time on Urban Lifestyles.
Bye.
Bye-bye.